Hello and welcome to the POWERBOOST meditation. Today, let us experiment with the theme full stop thinking. Full stop thinking. We have a lot of punctuation marks in our language. We have a full stop, we have a comma, we have a question mark, we have an exclamation mark. And often our thinking also carries these punctuation marks. It's like if I take a thought as a sentence, then after the thought is over, what do I put after the thought? Is it a question mark? Means, do I question the scene that has happened in the drama? Is it an exclamation mark? Means, do I just get surprised by it? Or is it a comma? Means that the thought hasn't finished, but if I'm moving on to another thought, there is some baggage of the old thought that I carry in my mind. So when the punctuation mark is a full stop, it really means that I have completely stopped the previous thought in my mind, and then I'm moving on to the next thought in a very easy way. So full stop, it kind of separates one sentence from another sentence. And so after full stop, a new sentence begins. In the same way, a lot of times our thoughts in our minds are quite, complex, and they are, randomly going here and there. But this practice of full stop thinking, it allows me to put a full stop after every few thoughts. Then I'm free. It's like I have performed an action, and then when I move on to the other action, there is nothing left of the previous action on my mind. There's no influence of that. So I've started something and I've finished it. I've put a full stop. It's not just finishing in terms of the external task, but what I carry inside my mind. I think about something and I finish it, put a full stop, and then think about something else. And what is very important in this practice of applying a full stop is that realizing that whatever scene has happened, I just putting a full stop means that I rewind the scene or replay the scene from the perspective of the soul. The soul is a point. The soul is that point that allows me to fully stop my thoughts about the story. Right? Otherwise, the thoughts keep on growing and growing, and I create a story in my mind. A story about something that really may not have happened, but I have created that story in my mind. So putting a full stop is like taking some time to look at the scene from the perspective of the soul, which means from the eternal perspective, which means from the perspective of the actor, not getting lost in the detail of the scene, but making the actor very, very alive and real in my mind. Of course, when we are performing actions, we are in the space of performing actions. But after I have performed an action, it's always good to take just a second. And this practice, the good thing about it is it just takes a second. In a second, I just replay the whole scene from the perspective of the soul. And many times, like before going to bed or when I close the day, it's also good to just replay the whole scenes of the day and then just look at it from the perspective of the soul, so that nothing of the role is carried in the mind. soul is very easily able to let go and be ready for the next scene. Of course, the soul takes the lesson from the past, but then becomes very ready and available to play the next part in the drama of life. So if I'm not using full stop thinking, then automatically it's either comma thinking, it's either question mark thinking, it's either exclamation mark thinking. And all these three, question mark, exclamation mark, or comma, they result in wasteful thinking. And so when we are, moving towards waste-free thinking, this just full stop thinking is a very easy way to experience that. So let us experiment for a few moments. Full stop thinking. As I become aware of this moment in time, I shift my attention to the world within, to my inner space. I realize that there may be a lot of stories inside my inner space. Stories about what happened today, yesterday, some other time, or what's going to happen. I realize that all of these are just stories. And for some time, I detach myself from the world of the story, realizing that I am an eternal being of light, a soul who is enacting these roles in the story. I, the soul, this point, I am an actor. I am a point. And I realize that from the perspective of the point, the perspective of the soul, whatever is happening for good. Whatever happened for good. And what is going to happen is also very good. Because this entire story is meant for I, the soul, the actor, to enjoy life. And so let me just detach myself from the story world into the soul world. The world where I am myself, this eternal point of light, without any physical dimension, without any physical image. Point of light that carries within itself the imprints of peace, the imprints of deep silence. Imprints of kindness, compassion, and unconditional love. I experience myself in my true form. The world of the story has paused for a few moments, and the world of the soul is now what I am experiencing. In my home of silence, there is just this vast golden light where I experience complete silence. There are no other thoughts, but just the thoughts of my pure existence as an eternal star. These feelings of belonging to an eternal family of stars. Nothing else exists here. Just the dimension I, the soul, naturally experience the presence of the Divine, Supreme. As I let go of the story, I come into the field of this divine presence. Where I feel completely accepted, loved. This is where my truth lies, in the company of the Source, the Divine, the Supreme. Staying here, from here, the entire story feels so distant and far away that I just see it as a point. I naturally experience being this eternal point, held in the silent love of the Supreme Point, and being aware of the story world as another point. Just holding stays in my awareness, allows me to be in balance. Allows me to hold the truth in my mind. The truth of life is in these 3 points. I, the eternal being, my eternal companion, and the entire story being a point. The company of the divine. I've flushed out all the influences of the story. And I'm completely pure, completely free, completely myself. I hold on to this experience. As I come back into the story world, I carry these 3 points naturally that allow me to easily put a full stop to the scenes of drama in my mind and enjoy this life to the fullest. Om Shanti.